They saw in me the strength to resist the demons. And they forged me into a weapon. Now I am ready. The dead have risen in its wake. I will send them back to their graves. Once I was hunted. Now I am the hunter.
What's up everyone, Kruger here, introducing a new series I've been planning thanks to some feedback from my previous videos. In this series I'll be going over some of the more popular and well-known Skyrim builds throughout its 9-year tenure, showcasing its skills and combat strategies along with some role-playing elements. Most of these are in my opinion of course, and I tend to favor builds that are focused on the mechanics, but if there are other builds that you'd like me to showcase as part of this series, let me know in the comments section. By the way, these new series won't replace the gameplay ones. I still plan on uploading them, just not as frequent as before. Anyway, enough chatter, let's begin. The Demon Hunter is a build inspired by the Diablo class of the same name. Published back in 2012 by the user No Snakes Alive, the concept was to showcase the full potential of the archery skill tree without the use of sneak. Instead of cowering away from the distance, the Demon Hunter stands face to face with their enemies, firing bolts from mid and short range, and never backing down from the opposition. Along with the marksman skills, they use poisons attached to their arrows and bolts, the circle protection spell to keep the undead at bay, shouts for utility purposes, and fire destruction magic for some devastating area effect damages. Back in the early days of Skyrim, one of the more popular builds was the concept of a sneak archer. Being able to crouch and snipe your enemies from the distance unseen became the easiest and most effective method for clearing out bandit camps and dungeons. However, arguably this strategy can be quite repetitive and can get boring, especially how easily it is to remain undetected. Not to mention how overpowered it can get when combined with skills from illusion, enchanting, and smithing. The Demon Hunter does the opposite, standing its ground and fighting to the death without running away from battle, bringing more of a power fantasy element into Skyrim. Along with its vast arsenal is the build's survival capabilities, with heavy armor being able to absorb damage and remain in the thick of battle. There's also the 50% spell absorption ability from the Atronach Stone, which can counter magic attacks into healing and destruction spells. And if you decide to go as a Breton, you can make that 100% with the Dragon Skin power. While primarily a ranged fighter, the bow bashing technique makes the Demon Hunter as dangerous up close as from a distance, firing bolts and arrows at point blank range. Due to its popularity, the Demon Hunter has been showcased on different platforms, with each user having their own take on the build. PC Outcast, who showcased the original build on his YouTube channel, also used this build with the perk overhaul mod Ordinator. With Ordinator, restoration is greatly added to, making fighting against the undead a cakewalk, especially with a perk like Crusader's Fire. This perk makes to turn undead spells an offensive spell against the undead, causing them to lose health while under its effects. Fire destruction magic is also amplified, especially when dual casting fire runes, which can be cast for free thanks to the initiative perk. There's also the well-locked Dormant's Arcana perk that provides 3 buffs whenever a spell is activated that can either provide more survivability or more damage. Another YouTuber going by the name Couch Warrior did a playthrough of the Demon Hunter build as part of his character expedition series. Like PC Outcast, he also used Ordinator, but also spells from Apocalypse Spell Package mod. These spells give the build additional buffs when entering combat, providing more survivability and utility. He also created an original backstory of the build, and like all of his characters featured on the channel, goes into great depth about their skill set, personality, and motivation. Lastly, there's the Inferno Huntress build from Furion, which was published on the Skyforge website a year ago. While also using Ordinator, the Inferno Huntress has a unique twist by being a vampire character. Sacrosanct, a mod that overhauls vampire abilities, gives the Demon Hunter even more abilities at their disposal, including blood magic. Add in mods that overhaul the standing stones and races while wearing a badass armor set, and it's another build that makes slaying the undead as fun as it always has been. I also mentioned back in my top builds of 2020 that this build was all about offense, relying very little on healing spells, thanks to some perks and abilities that recover health automatically during combat. Personally, I've always been a fan of combat archery, going toe-to-toe with your enemies, picking out one by one with your bow is a playstyle I've always enjoyed, especially if you're outnumbered. Not that I have anything against sneak archery, which while it can be fun at times, can get very tedious, and I don't find it very enjoyable for a long playthrough unless you add another element to it. I also like the combination of fire destruction and restoration magic. Both are great in dealing with the undead, and if you use Ordinator with this build, they synergize very well, especially with the turn on dead spells. Not to mention it provides that power fantasy element, being able to fight off against the army of the undead all by yourself. Also, if you have mods to improve Skyrim's graphics, they are both aesthetically pleasing when paired together. As far as roleplaying goes, it's quite simple, since you're just slaying the undead, and Skyrim has plenty of dungeons to explore to root out evil. Not to mention the countless numbers of mods that add more dungeons, lands, and quests. Both Couch Warrior and Furion do provide a backstory to their characters, however, and they both offer a realistic take on why their sole purpose is to hunt the undead. Well, that's all for today. I hope you all enjoyed this video and are excited for more of these to come. I do hope to provide more of an analysis on future builds, and would love to hear some feedback. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Peace out.